Good morning. Today I want to talk to you about motivation and hopefully give you some hints and tips as to how you can stay motivated. I think it's been a particularly tough couple of months for a lot of people. I was going to do a technique workshop today, but I decided that this would actually be more useful to people in terms of what they could use right now. Okay, so here are my tips to help keep you motivated. Number one, remember that nobody is 100% motivated every single day. There is absolutely no one on this earth who can say that that is true. Okay? Everybody has an off day, a down day. And I think with social media, it can be really, really easy to assume that everyone is 100% motivated all the time, and they're not. When you look at my Instagram feed, it probably looks like I exercise about 95% of the day, which I don't. I have two small children. I spend a lot of time running around after them. At the moment, I'm homeschooling until the end of today, yippee. I spend my time cooking, cleaning, traveling to and from clients, training outdoors, all different types of things. So I'm not actually in my studio training and working out all the time. And that can be very demotivating if you're the sort of person who perhaps doesn't love exercise. I'm very conscious of the fact that as someone who does love exercise, it can be really easy to assume that everybody wants to do that too, and that's absolutely not true. One of the things that I'm passionate about with the clients that I work with is trying to help them find the elements of exercise that they really love, and that helps to keep you motivated. So that's the first thing that I would say. Just keep that in mind. Remember that social media is someone's highlight reel. It's not real life. You don't get to see the mundane things that they do, like the washing up or changing the bed sheets, all of that kind of stuff. That just happens. That's just life. Okay. Number two, have a specific goal in mind. And when I say this, I mean, give yourself a target that is realistic. Okay. It's measurable, something that is time bound. We call them in this industry SMART goals. Okay, so something specific, something measurable, achievable, realistic, time bound. Okay, and all of those things are crucial, because if you set yourself a goal which is almost impossible to achieve, that's not really going to help you in terms of your motivation, because all you're going to feel like is that you failed. And actually, you haven't failed at all. You just set yourself a target which was just completely unachievable. And a good personal trainer will help to set those realistic targets with you. They'll help you to kind of create a time frame. And what I would say is, once you know what you want that to be, write it down, put it up somewhere where you're going to see it every single day to remind yourself what that goal is and why it is you want to achieve it. Okay, maybe write that down as well. Maybe give yourself 5 reasons why it is that you say want to be able to do a pull-up within 6 months. Okay. That brings me on to my next point. Try not to make your goal always to do with weight loss. Try and focus not just on what you want to lose, but what you want to gain. So for instance, giving yourself a target like wanting to deadlift a particular weight or to run 5K is always a really, really good target to have. I think I love it when my clients come to me and they say, I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do 10 press-ups. I want to be able to do 10 pull-ups. Okay, because if they have something like that, what I tend to find is that there's a very organic process to the progress that they make. So because they're so focused on a target, they're less concerned about the aesthetics, and that tends to come much more organically, much more naturally. So if you start working towards a goal and you're putting the time in and you're so preoccupied thinking about that goal, the weight loss and the other things, the muscle definition, that comes with it. Okay, it comes naturally, and you're so focused that the time becomes less of an issue. So patience becomes less of an issue. One of the biggest problems that I think people have when working with personal trainers is that they want results immediately. They think that that's what they're paying for, but actually what they're paying for is that support. It's not that hour of contact that you have with a personal trainer, say once, twice, 3 times a week. It's all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So all the thought process that your trainer puts into creating the perfect program for you, to make sure that you are, actually progressing, making sure that as your body adapts, they're challenging you, stepping up your game each week. And they're also thinking about things like your nutrition. Does it match your program? Are you able to see where it's going? It's all mapped out, all that kind of thing. So make your goal something that focuses on what you want to gain, not what you want to lose. Okay, next one. Reward yourself, okay? I say this because one of the most motivational things for me is that if I, achieve something specific, back in the early days of my fitness program, I think one of the things is I became quite into my fitness clothing. And so for me, if I got to a particular milestone or I achieved something, I would reward myself by buying myself a new sports bra or a pair of leggings or something like that. And being able to see how different I looked, like visibly different. And I'm not talking about the measurement on the scale, because that's another thing that can be very, very demotivating, is constantly weighing yourself, rather than taking photographs and seeing that progress. Actually just seeing your body change and the visible changes over time is hugely motivational. Maybe, when you've taken those photos, print them off, put them somewhere where you can see them on the inside of your wardrobe, something like that. So every time you open the door, you go, I did that. That's me. I smashed it. Okay. That's hugely, hugely motivational. And I think those visible changes in your body are so much better in terms of measuring progress than what you see on the scale. Quite often, especially if you're building a little bit of muscle as well, there might not be much differentiation from one week to another. It's not worth getting on the scales, because hormonal changes, water retention, all of those kind of things, they're going to affect what you weigh. Okay, that leads me on to the next point. Make it fun, okay? I have so many people who will come to me and say, I don't really like this and I don't really like that. And I just say, well, if you don't like doing it, don't do it. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be pleasurable. If we don't manage to find any level of joy in exercise, it's very unlikely that you are going to stick or adhere to a program that is set for you by a personal trainer. One of the kind of things that makes my heart sink is when you see people coming into the gym who maybe have got weight to lose, they're particularly ill-conditioned, and they go straight for that treadmill. And I'm like, why? They don't look like they're enjoying themselves. They don't look like they want to be there. I think when you are, perhaps if you have got weight to lose and you're on a treadmill, it's quite a noisy item of machinery to be on. And so that immediately draws attention to you anyway. So if you already feel self-conscious in the gym, it's probably one of the worst things that you could possibly do. So my advice would be to just try new things. There are so many different classes, even just going for long walks, in terms of like fat loss. Actually walking is one of the best fat burners. You don't need to be pounding a treadmill to lose pounds, okay? So just consider that. Try and find something you enjoy. Maybe you like dancing, cycling, whatever it might be. That's going to help to keep you motivated, because if you're forcing yourself to do something you don't enjoy, you're not going to stick to it at all, okay? If you have a bad day, don't write the whole program off, okay? I go on about this all the time, that it is about consistency where exercise is concerned, okay? If you're consistent over time, one bad day won't make the slightest bit of difference to you. But if you have a bad day and you think to yourself, right, well, I've ruined it all now, I might as well just write it all off, that's when the problem arises. I think sometimes you get into a cycle of self-sabotage. So for instance, you've had a really stressful day at work, you come home, you raid the fridge, then by the evening time you've demolished an entire tub of ice cream, a full packet of biscuits, maybe a few packets of crisps, something like that. And you just think to yourself, wow, I've done so much damage here in terms of my weight loss that I might as well just carry on tomorrow. And that is not the way to be. We're all going to have those up and down days, those celebration days, those days when we go out and we binge a little bit on food because it is fun and that is life, okay? And that's fine, because actually over time those numbers are going to work for you. But if you're the sort of person who sabotages yourself every time you do that, you really are just setting yourself back into a cycle of weight loss and then weight gain and weight loss and weight gain, and it just becomes, a roller coaster ride. Last one, don't draw comparisons, okay? This is your journey. It's not mine. It's not anybody else's, okay? I do try to make sure that the people that I follow on social media, apart from my friends and, acquaintances, are people who I find inspirational and motivational, people who I look at and think, yeah, you're amazing. I want to be like you. Not people who I look at and think, oh, I don't look like that. I feel awful today and I wish I looked like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to share my journey with someone who makes me feel bad about myself. And just to be clear about this, I said it earlier, it's a highlight reel. Nobody is perfect, okay? And I think, we'll do us all really good to remember that a lot of the time, that there is nobody on this earth who is perfect. Even if they like to think they are, they're not, okay? So just don't draw comparisons. This is about your journey. And if you are struggling for motivation and you want some tips, what I would say is that actually, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a personal trainer, I'm looking for business, but a personal trainer should be there to pick you up and big you up every step of the way, okay? One of the things that I really love about my app that I use is that it's got a built-in messenger. So if somebody is having a really, really bad day and they're doing their workout and they feel like it's not going very well, they can just immediately just jump on that messenger whilst they're doing the workout and say, oh God, this is not working for me. I'm really struggling with this today. I just feel like quitting. And then it's my job to then jump in and go, you know what? You've got this. Even if you work at 60%, just get it done. You know what? This is not about motivation. This is about discipline. This is about making sure that you show up and you put the time in even when you don't want to. Okay, that's what's going to make all the difference to you. And I believe in you. I know that you can do this. Tomorrow's another day. You're going to feel great. And you know what? These are the workouts that when you complete them, you'll feel most proud of yourself because you didn't want to do them in the first place. And sometimes that's all people need to hear in order to keep them going. But if they do it alone, then they're very likely to just quit and give up. If they've got someone there watching their back and helping them and bigging them up and supporting them all the way, they're far more likely to succeed. And just before I kind of conclude, know the difference between needing a rest day and feeling burnt out and exhausted and having the discipline to push on through even when you don't want to, okay? I say this because if you're the sort of person for whom every day is a rest day and frankly you do need to get up and move a little bit more, okay, and you know if that's you, then that's the case of not having, even if you don't have the motivation, having the discipline to get it done, okay? I do have some clients who get the bug for exercise and they're so into it that I have to actually say to them, I think it's time you took a day off. Let those muscles recover. If you want to see progress, you got to let your body rest, okay? But if it's completely the opposite end of the extreme and it's more a case of, I just don't have the motivation or the discipline here, sometimes you got to just push on through, and knowing the difference can really, really help. My DMs are always open. I'd love to hear from you. I hope that this is helpful. As I say, nobody feels 100% motivated all the time. It's been really, really difficult for the last couple of months, so give yourself a break. If you are trying, then hats off to you, okay? Because it's a big deal and good for you. And in the long term, you're really, really going to benefit because let's face it, it's all about our health and it's all about enjoyment and it's all about making life great, being able to run around with our kids, all of that kind of stuff, okay? So if you need any help, drop me a message. I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, have a great weekend.